Every once in a while, you stumble into a perfect collaboration where you and your collaborator are really going back and forth and exchanging ideas to build a track that truly feels like a combination of two unique sounds. And of course, I wouldn't be saying any of this if I wasn't about to tell you the story of a collaboration that went just like that. So today I am extremely excited to be joined by my good friend Fabilous Beats to help break down a track that we made for the second installment of my community collab tape series that I host on our Discord server. The general idea is really simple. I threw out an open invite to anyone in the community to send me a sample that they think I would be a good fit for, and picked a few of my favorites that I thought might make a nice cohesive project, and went on to make an 8-song album with 8 incredibly talented producers from right here in this community. So if you like what you hear in this video, I promise you're gonna love the whole album. There's gonna be a link at the top of the description to check out the entire project after the video is done. But first, I'm gonna pass things off to Fabilous Beats to show you guys exactly how he made the starting sample, and then I'll jump back in and show you exactly what I did with it. See you in a minute.
Hi guys, I'm Fabian, also known as Fabilous Beats, transmitting to you from Stockholm, Sweden. So first of all, thank you Luke for having me on the channel. I'm really excited to be here, and today we're going to break down mine and Luke's track Harbor. That's releasing the 26th of December as part of the Community Tape Collab 2. Or the official name of the album is Whispers, and I'm really looking forward to it. All the tracks on the album is truly amazing, so keep a lookout for that. But without further ado, let's dive into the project and have a look at how it all began. Okay, so here we are in Logic Pro, and a funny story: when Luke announced this opportunity to collab for this album, he allowed everyone in the community to send up to 3 samples, and then he would decide from there which ones to use. And I was just about to send 2 of mine. I made 2, and then I had a couple of minutes to spare before leaving the house, so I was like, yeah, why not try to get the 3rd one down as quickly as possible. So I made this one in 10-15 minutes, I think, and I actually spent quite some time with the first 2 loops, but this is the one that he ended up liking, and listening back to the first 2 loops I made, I completely agree, they weren't half as good as this one. So I just think it's funny that sometimes the magic happens when you're not trying that hard. Well, with that being said, it's actually not that complex of a starting loop. It's just a basic piano. It's from Native Instruments. It's the Grandeur, or the Grandeur, something like that. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Yeah, and let's take a listen. Yeah, so nothing crazy at all. I think I just added some drive, like a preamp, simply get the loudness up, I think, and I also low cutted it a bit and EQ'd it, and I sent it to a Valhalla reverb and also a Raum reverb to get that airy feel, and also Echo Boy delay. That's honestly it for the starting loop. So I think Luke will take it from here, and he can walk you through how he approached this initial loop. that you received from me, and then I will come back later in the video and walk you through how I approached what I received from Luke and so forth. So yeah, I'll see you later.
So like I said, I had sent an open invite for anybody to send me a sample with basically very little guidance for what it could sound like. And I ended up receiving over 40 really incredible submissions. But as soon as I heard this piano part, I was instantly captivated. I had some ideas of what I could do to turn it into a full track, and I thought it fit really nice with a few of the others that I already kind of wanted to include in the tape. So when I reached out to any of the selected artists, I tried to have a little bit of an exchange with them to find out how they wanted to approach this collaboration. I really wanted them to feel like true collaborations, which means working the way that you prefer to work rather than just taking them and making them my own. I wanted to work with everybody kind of like one-on-one and really make a track we're both proud of. So talking to Fabi before this, we decided we want to do a real back and forth, right? I'll add a little bit, he'll add a little bit more, and maybe I'll round it off myself. And that's exactly what we ended up doing. So as I was listening to the sample and thinking about what layers to add, I tried to be really intentional about leaving some extra space to make sure there were kind of some clear points that he could add some flair, add a little bit of flavor, and still add a little bit more of his touch without me overcomplicating things too much. With that in mind, I essentially took his initial stems. I had him break out the left and the right hands, which he had layered with the Grandeur and the Woodland piano, just so that I could process these textures a little bit differently in the mix. So you can see in the right hand, I really didn't do any processing at all. I actually didn't even do any leveling at this stage. But in the left hand, I was feeling like there was a little bit of stepping on the rest of what I would be filling in, a lot of low end information. So I decided to include a side chain to the kick right away to make room for the drums, a little bit of extra compression, an additional EQ. I cut out a bunch of kind of like low rumble that was still hanging out after his EQ, and a tiny little peak cut here to help get rid of a resonant tone that I wasn't quite jiving with that day. And then to top off the processing on that, I threw on an old favorite, TDR Nova. It's over here doing a bit of dynamic EQ right around that 250 hertz mark. Other than that, I left his pianos alone. I thought they were absolutely gorgeous, and I just dove right into adding my own layers on top of them. So the first thing I came up with was a nice simple pad layer, which you'll see is just from the Spitfire Labs. It's one of these free pad presets. It's on the pedal pad sustain piano preset, and all I really did was dial in the reverb, attack delay, just the ADSR with that in the piano. Nothing too transformative yet, but it definitely does its job of kind of filling out those mids and giving it a little bit more of an ambience. So from there, I of course added a bass line. And so that bass is again another classic for the channel. The key bass, I've got the sustain mode turned on, the decay is turned up all the way. I basically just followed the root notes and then had some occasional transition notes to give it a little bit more color. So that comes in all together. So perhaps the most interesting thing I did at this phase of the production was the drums. I felt like this lead piano, the right hand parts here, had this really strong and defined rhythm that I kind of wanted to be the pulse of the track. So as I was making this drum part, I was really trying to complement what the piano is doing the entire time. You know, I've got this accented bits of the measure that I really wanted to bring out. Particularly with my hi-hats and a couple of the perks that I layered in. So let's give a listen to the full drum part, and then we'll talk about a little bit more about what I did to kind of make that happen. So one thing that I think is doing a lot of the heavy lifting and kind of like fortifying the pulse of that piano is this fairly offbeat perk I've got going on. It's on the third quarter step. I don't know, I guess like the and, 1E and the. So if the quarter steps were 1E and we've got this perk on the which has got that like kind of like triplet pulse going on throughout each measure. It's feeling a little bit more like a ghost snare that's just like this kind of like wood perk I grabbed from Nick, which must be one of the Lo-Fi Sounds packs. Shout out to those guys. If you're interested, I've got a link for 10% off of all of the Lo-Fi Sounds kits. I'll link that also somewhere in the description. Definitely check that out. I love those guys. I love the packs that they make. Really good stuff. I don't think this video is technically sponsored because I said that, but I will get a small percentage of the sale if you buy using my link. So if you want to support the channel and support the guys at Lo-Fi Sounds, definitely check that out. So yeah, we've got that kind of like, you know, offbeat perk going there, but we get these layered open hats here in the same place, that and of the open hat, and then same thing here, just on a different beat in a few different places. So it's like each of these percussive elements are kind of hitting in the same part of the measure, or not the same part of the measure, but the same part of the beat, of fortifying the same motion, but they're kind of taking turns doing that. I was really happy with how those drums came out, and of course, if you've been around the channel, you know that I'm going to be adding guitar to basically everything that I possibly can. I settled on 2 very simple guitar layers, again focusing on trying to complement the piano part while still, you know, adding something of substance here. Yeah, let's maybe take a listen to this first guitar part that comes in at the second half of the first drop. I'll walk you through the quick mixture chain and then show you what I did with the second line here. So this is going into the second half of the first drop. So a couple notes about kind of like what I'm thinking as I'm writing a part like this, right? Something you're gonna hear littered throughout my discography, probably problematically so, I do it so often, is just pickup notes. Pickup notes that lead into a nice long sustained note. So you've got note A in chord 1 that fits with chord 1, and then it just slides into note B that fits with chord 2. It's just like an absolute classic. It is a staple in my discography. I can't recommend it enough. It's a super simple thing to do when you play around with it a little bit and you find some notes that work together. And it creates this like really nice kind of like often cheery, kind of like playful effect. And especially here where we get into the mixture chain, I've got the Archetype Mateus Asado on a preset that I think that I made quite a while ago. I think I probably tweaked it a little bit. This tends to be what I do most times. I open this up. I'll just open this preset that I made for a track that I don't believe is out yet. So shout out Koalrez, your name's popping up on this video. Basically, I've got it on the middle amp in cab, just some compression. None of the other pedals are even turned on. And then again, a classic 250 hertz scoop. The thing really doing the magic here is this echo that's set to follow the tempo of the DAW. It's got like a nice ping pong delay going on. And then of course you got a plate reverb mix, you know, a little less than 50%. That's just really sending it into a space. You end up with these like long tails where the note is normally just ringing out, where you really let that reverb and the delay take over and you get that ping pong, and it bounces around the ears as the piano takes over and really captures the attention. So just this alone, it's a very simple phrase for the most part that's kind of repeated and then embellished a little bit a few times. And that kind of bouncing around ping pong is playing kind of nicely with a little bit more of a complex and active motion going on in the piano. But of course, I couldn't just add one guitar layer. I had to keep it at least somewhat interesting while trying to leave some space. So I did leave the bridge completely empty of guitar. I wanted to really have like a clean palette for Fabilous beats to hop in. But in the second drop, just to spice things up, I took that first guitar layer, copy and pasted it twice, and then I laid down a harmony, which I feel like really elevates this and brings the track to the next level in my opinion. This was a harmony layer that I was really excited about at the time, and I hope you'll agree. It adds something really nice here. So of course the only difference here is that the main guitar line repeats 2 times. The harmony evolves a little bit more as the guitar repeats, and I just left plenty of room in between to hopefully have a few extra elements peppered in there, which, as you can see, not to give away too much, Fabilous Beats ended up coming up with, am I saying that right? Is it Fabulous or Fabulous? I think it's probably Fabulous, but his name's Fabi. Either way, I'm gonna pass things back to him to show you guys exactly what he did once I got a few extra layers laid down. So I'll see you guys in a few.
Hi, so I'm glad to be back to bring you some more fabulous stuff, and I presume Luke already walked you through his arrangement, but we can take a listen to it. Just take a quick listen. I really like what they did with the drums, super clean, and also the guitar melodies is coming in shortly. So soft and clean. I really like what he did there. So yeah, let's have a listen. I just added this one-shot wind chimes loop that I found on Splice. It's pretty clean. Some tremolo to get that back and forth motion. Just some delay and reverb and some more delay and reverb. I'm not sure why I added so much, but I think it did the job. And then also added this rain, and it's actually from, I think I discovered it when making this track. It's from this Evolve Mutations thing from Heavy City. I think I got this VST from like when I purchased the Native Instruments Complete bundle. It actually has some really nice nature textures in here, so I can just play some. This one. So many to choose from. I basically, when I need to add some nature SFX, I only use this one since I discovered it. So yeah, I just played one note with some rain and forest sounds, and then I bounced it in place. And that's it for the first part. I didn't want to. The arrangement from Luke was already so clean, so I didn't want to interfere too much with his arrangement. So I started adding stuff in the middle instead, because this is how it sounded before. And I think Luke intentionally left some space for me to add some additional melodies and stuff in here. So that's what I did. Firstly, I added this piano melody. Let's have a listen to these two. Just filling out those spaces, you know. Then I also did these vox things. Vocal ambience things. Pretty low in the mix. I can raise them for this. Just to create that background ambience, soothing sound. These are also from Native Instruments. It's Farlight, I think, and just a preset, this ethereal preset. I really like Farlight. It's it's really great when you want to create this vocal background ambience. Just some compressor, some soothe to tame those harsh frequencies, and I also added a tremolo to get some motion in this one. But I really think they add to the track. So with these three together. Nice, isn't it? And I also added this mellow flute pad. Let's have a listen to that one. Just to create some additional ambience in the background, and I think I went pretty crazy with this one. You can see on the channel strip. Let's have a listen. Okay, so this is how it sounds with no effects on. It's from Absinthe, but I think I felt it was a bit, a bit boring, too plain. So I wanted to make it more unstable and glitchy and unpredictable. So EQ, and then also I added this thing from Arturia. Just make it a bit more interesting. And I added this portal from Output, which also makes it move a bit, and this plugin is just gorgeous to look at, so I had to include two of them. And yeah, they are just both adding different kinds of motions. And tremolator from Sound Toys to add additional movement, and then some sidechain from Waves, and then a reverb. I don't know what this gain thing is. Oh, I think it had such a long release tail, so I just automated it down, and I was too lazy to make adjustments in the VST. So yeah. And I sent it to a delay as well, but I really think all of these things really make it more interesting to get some kind of movement and unstableness, That's the one. It's also just a repeat of the wind chime there. So this part after the break, when the energy comes back in, I felt like this was really nice, but were some space left for another piano melody. So I made this one like a kind of response to Luke's guitar melodies, like this. Then it responds in the final bar of like this. Yeah, so I think that's what I did, and I'm really happy how this track turned out. I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, that's probably it. So I think maybe Luke will walk you through how the mixing process and the mastering process, but otherwise I think that's what I did from my end with this track, and it was truly a great experience. It was really nice working with Luke. Super simple, super nice, discussions, and I think we really got a nice track together. And so once again, thanks so much for having me on the channel, Luke, and I'm really looking forward to the album release. And yeah, and to all of you watching, Merry Christmas in advance. It's just around the corner, so I'm sending some Christmas blessings here from Stockholm. Take care.
I was already loving this track when I sent it back to Fabi, but when he sent me all these extra layers, my jaw practically hit the floor. I really felt like this felt like a true composition. It felt like there was a little bit of me and a whole lot of him in kind of the best way. And I felt like all I really had to do was just a couple little touch-up things on the mix, run it through a quick master, and we had a track that I was really proud of. So, of course, Fabi just walked you through everything that he did. So a couple of little details on what I did on my end. Basically, just a little bit of extra EQing kind of on all of these additional layers. There were a couple of peaks that were poking out or things that were like maybe bumping into other layers here and there. Yeah, just a little bit of compression, a little bit of EQ, just to really get things glued down and right where we want it. So outside of a few tiny EQ touches, I did end up adding one more layer of rain just to, you know, make it sad or whatever. Obviously did a fade in and fade out on the master volume. And then in this bridge section, just automated a few EQ layers to really just cut some of the highs out of the hi-hats and basically bring everything a little bit smaller to create a little bit more dynamic contrast with the track. Beyond that, I just hit it with a quick master and we found ourselves with what I think is a very beautiful track. So once again, huge shout out to Fabilous Beats for coming on the channel and helping me break down exactly how we made this track together. I'm absolutely pumped with how it came out. If you like this track and you want to hear more, there are 7 other tracks on this album called Whispers, which is out now. Huge shout out to Cold Soda Music for supporting this release. And if you want to get involved in events just like this or collaborate with me on the next community collab tape, be sure to join the Discord. It's linked, you know, somewhere towards the top of the description. We do lots of kind of like fun occasional beat battles. We just did a Trash to Treasure event and maybe even some label collaborations where we can get a little compilation together. So we're doing all kinds of fun stuff. I'd love to have you in there. I'd love to hear some of your music and hopefully be able to work with you someday in the near future. But in the meantime, check out Whispers, check out all the music from all these amazing producers that I got to work with on this. And you know what? You have a beautiful day. I hope you had a wonderful 2024, a safe, happy and healthy holiday season. Happy New Year. And I guess I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm totally in like a new studio, if you didn't notice. It's still very much a work in progress, so I'm probably gonna try to give you guys a little tour if and when I ever actually get it finished. But yeah, this is one of the excuses as to why I've been so inconsistent with my uploads. I've been living in a construction zone for a while, and yeah, I'm glad we're getting near the finish line at this point. So yeah, more on that later. Thanks for stopping by. See you guys next time. Love y'all. Peace.